Hi folks, it's Sunday, it's the 20th of November 2022, it's about 2 p.m. in the afternoon. I'm in a wonderful little nook and cranny in Scotland called Aberfeldy. And yeah, I'm in that place in Scotland which has had 150 millimetres or 6 inches of rain in the last 24 hours. So yeah, there's a lot of flooding around here. It's not quite on the Australian level, but Scotland's used to it. But it was great going up the Burks of Aberfeldy yesterday where Robbie Burns wrote a lot of his poetry, because what's normally a trickle was a raging torrent of waterfalls, some of them like couple of hundred feet high. It's spectacular. So excuse the camera shaking about. On the one hand, rain, yeah, sure, there's floods everywhere. And Mars is exactly square Neptune. But Mars is retrograde in Gemini. Mars is about one's physical energy. Mars retrograde in Gemini, it does create the capacity for diversity, for seeing both sides of a story. It creates an energy also of hypocrisy, where you say one thing and do another. Mars is also today exactly square Neptune in Pisces, the sign that Neptune rules. Neptune is still retrograde also. So both Mars and Neptune are retrograde and they're in square to each other. A Mars square Neptune in the sky, when I see it in clients' charts, I talk about it as knowing as you age the difference between fantasy, which can stay between the ears, and imagination, which can be created. With Mars retrograde in Gemini, there seems to be a lot of hypocrisy in the world at the moment. And squaring Neptune, it makes it very difficult to know who's telling the truth about anything. I note with interest that today is the start of the once every 4-year annual World Cup in football. Now, I don't talk about football. I am an avid football fan. I have my own localised football supporting team that I've been supporting over 60 years through thick and thin. They're not one of the glamorous clubs, and I'm not going to name them. I've always admired football, and these days I admire women's football more than men's, because there's far less dirty play, diving, play acting and money. We're seeing the start of the World Cup today with Mars square Neptune as the football starts, with Mars retrograde in Gemini, suggesting a great deal of hypocrisy where the sands are shifting at a minute by minute level. The rules are changing. The World Cup was brought forward a few days ago to accommodate the host nation. Yesterday they changed the rules on alcohol being consumed at the last minute, which is going to lead to a lot of lawsuits. But of course there's a lot of money involved, so it'll be settled quietly in the background. But this masks the bigger picture. See, on the one hand, and I'll probably get into trouble for saying this, Qatar, where the World Cup is being held, is a strong fundamentalist Muslim state. They're anti-alcohol, very strong on anti-LGBT rights. Homosexuality or any form of sexual deviation is an automatic prison sentence, if not worse. Women are not allowed to leave the country. But the thing is, Qatar's made no secret of this. This is what they stand for, this is what they say. The football bosses who have taken through some type of corrupt voting system 8 years ago, when they also voted to go to Russia following the money, they're saying, oh, it's a wonderful place to come to. It's not. And the footballers who go there, spouting about human rights and gay rights and freedom for women, they're still taking the dollar from their big bosses. Mars is square Neptune. There's a great deal of hypocrisy, a great deal of uncertainty, and you can't be sure about who's telling the truth on anything at the moment. So don't go believing anything you're being told right now. As we approach the end of the year, Mars will continue going retrograde and it will stay squaring Neptune on and off through to the time where Mars will clear it for the final time around the end of January. So, yeah, a lot of hype and spin around at the moment. A lot of creative imagination being used. I will find it very difficult to watch the World Cup. I may watch one or two select matches. And most people I know won't be watching it either because of the large amounts of obscene money, the stupid gains for purely for profit and power being, it's just like religion. It's run by a bunch of old men who are absolutely petrified of feminine power and of people having the freedom to speak up for themselves. Seems to me that over the long term here, in fact not over the long term, increasingly faster over the next few years, the world is helter-skelter, rushing towards some type of precipice in the near future where individual human rights versus corporate greed is going to become the battlefield for the next few years. And in 2 or 3 years' time, when the big lineup happens, that's unlike anything that's ever happened in human history, we'll see some type of resolution one way or another. To end with, I noticed that today in Britain, the Sunday Times, one of the oldest newspapers in the world, over 200 years of publishing, has written a large number of articles on astrology. They're scared to take it seriously. They do poke a lot of fun and derisory comments at it. They also notice how much of a powerful influence it's becoming in today's changing world. 40 years too late, of course. Enough on this. I'm off. I'm not going to watch the football. Can I be bothered with it? No. I'm going to go and look at a couple of waterfalls, pick a few bits of quartz out of the ground, go and plug my fingers into the earth, catch some wonderful clean Scottish air, come back to London in a couple of days, absolutely recharged, with my soul rebooted, vitalised. Get out there. Get in touch with the natural world. It's much more real than the world of football and billions of dollars and Coca-Cola and Budweiser. Catch you later, world. Bye.